Hello world, and welcome to the SP 500. We'll also take a look at the Nasdaq as well. The date's the 17th of November, Australia time, 6 a.m. So from wave 4 here, we're either looking up for wave 1 or wave 5 as the top here. In this particular structure here, we're looking for 5 waves in this structure, and we can look at this as wave 3 here and wave 4 here, and we're going up for wave 5 in this instance here. So let's go in and take a look at that. So on the daily chart here, you can see that we've got minor wave 4 and ABC for minor wave 4, and we can count 5 waves up here. So we're looking for a zigzag pattern back, a 5-3-5 structure as wave 2. And we can see that we've got the first leg down here, and we're considering as the A wave, we're considering this the B wave here, and then looking down for a C wave here in this instance. So we're looking for a turn right on this top here. So we'll also look at the long side as well, because we need to look at if we're wrong, where are we wrong and what we're going to do about it. So we'll be looking at that as well. So let's go in and take a closer look. But just before we do that, in a nutshell, we're looking for 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 moving up above the 4,000 area there at that point. So let's just keep drilling into this little area through here, and we'll need to come up with a few tactics with this as well. So this is from wave 4 here. We're looking up as wave 1 here, and then an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave. The B wave has gone a bit high, so it does raise a flag. It's just gone past the 61.8%, so we can just say the 3600 is where we expected it to touch and then drop, but it's sitting on top there, and that is support. So that's why we need to talk about it. So everything being equal, we'll see this as an A wave, and then an A, B, and C wave at this particular point, and then a move down lower from that point. Let's go in and take a closer look at this here on the hourly chart. So just in a nutshell here, we've got wave 1 here, an A wave here, an A and a B and a C wave here. It does count up as 5 waves. We'll look at that in a moment for wave B on that top. And then we're looking for 5 waves down at this point. Now, there's a couple of things here. This is the 50-60% retracement level, so we don't really want the market going up any further than we are now with this here. So I've got this green line here, so that will send us long at this particular point. So if this market may just go up to here and then start working lower from that point. But if it takes this top out here, that means that it's going to take that top out. And if it's going to do that, well, then it's going to keep on going for a little bit further. So we need to look at that. We can count 5 waves here as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 here. And then there's 5 waves in this sequence here. And we can look at that in a moment, but basically 1, 2, nice third wave here where the gap is in here, and a fourth and a fifth. Now this is actually really quite long here, so this reminds me really of a third wave in here rather than a 5th wave. Yes, you can get the extensions in the 5th wave, but it just raises another flag. So we're sitting on support where we should be fading at this point, and we could fail, so a drop through here would be nice, but of course we'll get a bounce off here first and then we'll drop. But if we have to count this different here, then we'll have to count this as wave 1 and 2 here, and then 1 and 2 here, and then look at this as a third wave, fourth wave, fifth wave, and then kind of moving up here. So we're going to be looking at that as well. Okay, so we don't want to miss this. I mean, this is a trading signal here sitting on support here to take one of these highs here. So that's what we'd need to do at that point. So we'll take a closer look at that. So let's go in and see what I've got on the 15-minute chart first. Well, this is how we're counting it up yesterday from wave B here to wave C here. It's just that it's gone a little bit too far. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 here. And it's quite okay really, because as a wave 2, it's pulled back deeply here. As a wave 4, it's pulled back shallow here. It's gone pretty much sideways to a point. This one's sharp and this one's sideways, so that all sort of matches up. Yeah, it's just the size of this fifth wave here in relationship to these guys. I can see that it's expanding. This wave here is what it is. This one's a bit longer, and then this one's like much longer. So it is expanding to the upside. So we just, it's not like it's shrinking to the upside, it's expanding to the upside. So we need to take that on board. So we could look at this as wave 1 down here, and then back for wave 2, and then a little 1 and 2 in here, and then dropping down further through here. That's not a problem, and that's what we're expecting. And if this becomes, the 36 here becomes the retested resistance, well, then you could probably get yourself a short trade. So we look for the bounce there, of course, and then we look for the move through, which we don't chase, and we wait for the retest. And as that's retesting there, then we can look to go short below this low here. You can also go shorter. You can short within this space in here as well if you wanted to, but you would need to check the volume on the futures market and the cash market, because this move up through here should be less volume than the move down through here. Then you'll know that it's corrective. If it's more volume here, then it's likely just to continue back up at that point. Right, so if it's on lower volume, then you can go through earlier at that particular point. But otherwise, we would need to look at this as an A and a B and a C wave here, and then moving up through here. So we can take these highs out through here. So let's just see how that plays out. But at 3600 here too, just while we're here, we've got group 1 here of 36 here. So the job of group 1 here is, in a bullish market, is to pin it back down into this space. And once it does that, and then it starts building to the upside, because if we get the top of group 1, which is the number 3 here, if we get that as support, then we normally trade long from that point. That tells us that the market getting support on the number 3 here, the 30 in this case, tells us that the order flow is going to take us up to the next highest number, which is the 5 here, the 50, the midpoint. But the main point of all of this is that it's going to detach from the 36 here. So group 1 above, support on top of group 1 takes us up, and down here at group 2 here, 65, 72 and 80, this is resistance, tells us that this number here is being rejected, and we're moving down from that point. That's what group 1 can do and group 2 can do in that point. They've got other functions as well, but it just tells you that it's leaving this number, because most whole numbers and even numbers and so on, the popular numbers, sticky numbers, will have corrections on them, and the corrections are where you lose money. So it's just sort of good to break that problem down a little bit. In terms of a bullish count, looking at this to the upside here, I'll just go to my tick chart here for a moment, and I'll just need to bring a little bit more data into this. I mean, this looks impulsive here to begin with. Here we've got 5 here. Let me just go in here, a bit more data first. So if we're counting it long here, we've had this as blue wave 1 and blue wave 2 and 3 here and 4 here, and then going up for wave 5 here with 5 waves in this structure here. However, if we were looking at it in more bullish terms, we'd look at this as 1 here and 2 here, and then 1 and 2 here, and then all of this for wave 3 up here, right? And then this is wave 4 here, and then going up for wave 5 of 3, and then 4 here, and then 5 here for this in this instance. So this wave 4 here would have pulled back already to its 38.2% roughly. So that's its 38.2% there. So it's hit the 50. But you always gravitate to the closest, largest number in this instance. So yeah, so it's suitable as a wave 4 at this point. You could probably go long on the 3620 as a small position, as a classic trading levels pattern sitting there. So if that's the 3620 here, you'll see the arrival, the reaction, the first high above the level, and will eventually find support. So if you can see that visually, then you can go in that particular direction for that build position here, and then we're 36.50 is the midpoint here. So you can expect trouble at that point there, which will be this wave 4 at this point. So I want to bring the Nasdaq over because we know that Google's making new highs, and we had a look at some of the other stocks yesterday. So this is the Nasdaq here, just on the 1 hour chart. Sorry for the mess, but basically the third wave here, and A, B, and C here for the fourth wave here, and then looking at this as wave 1 to the upside here, and it already pulled back to its wave 2, 61.8%, which is on the medium level here, 11,500, and then it started to make reasonable progress to the upside. So also too, we're sitting at 12,000 here. So we've got the same situation here as well, but this is different. This is much more bullish, the Nasdaq. So we're treating it slightly differently. But a move above this point here will take us up into the third, fourth, and we'll be sort of moving higher at that point. That's why we need to be a little bit careful on the SP 500. Okay, so if that top is breached, then that's going to move higher, which is also going to take the SP 500 higher at that point as well. So it does bring us back to, well, if we go back to the hourly chart here for a moment. So we could look at this in a couple of different ways. If this market is going to go any higher here, then we're going to have to rule out wave B here, right? That means that we can do a couple of things here. We'll either have to put wave C here for this and wave 2 here for this, and then look at this as wave 1 going to the upside here, or the other count I was just playing with here on the S&P 500 here, this is just a 2 hour chart, having the wave 4 low here, is looking at this as wave 1 here and 2 here and 3 here and 4 here, and then looking for wave 5 up through to here for wave 1. So a different wave 1, which is completely different from the Nasdaq. So I've got this just as a sort of a backdrop count, because if we do get a sharp sell-off, we don't want to be, we need to know, if it's going to happen, at what price point it's going to happen, and how far can we expect it to go, and so on. So I want to just keep this in the back of our minds for a little bit, and that means that the other count that I just mentioned, looking at on the tick chart where I had this as 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3 here and 4 here and 5 here for the third wave, a fourth wave and a fifth wave, we'll keep a close eye on this count as well, okay, in case we get that sharp pullback here. I think this count is quite valid as well. So yeah, I mean, this is kind of an original count I had in this section here for this. So I just want to leave it here for the time being. I just wanted to bring it back into the fold a little bit. So one step at a time. The first thing that we need to do with all of this, if we can just start to recap this a little bit, is that if this top here goes out, or we get support on the 36.20, that means that you can go long from that point, okay? That's the first thing. And if the second thing is that if this drops back below the level here, then we need to look at 5 waves to the downside at that point. So we can start to move this in here, copy this here, put this here, oops a daisy, that down to here, this down to here, up here for wave 2, this down here for wave 3, oops. Just playing both counts out here for a moment. I think it's important at this stage because we've got the Nasdaq and the other and the S&P are kind of doing different things in a way. So that will bring us back down here, and also too because because if this is correct as an A wave and a B wave here and down for the C wave, I wouldn't expect the C wave to pull back down to the 61.8% because this has gone so high here. So I'm expecting this to, if it's going to come down, it's going to be a bit shallower at this point. And also the takeaway from this as well is that if this is blue wave 1 and blue wave 2 here, then what we're really looking for in all of this is this blue wave 2 low, but also this 1 and 2 here as well. We're going to have 5 waves up here. Of course, that can be higher, that could be back up here somewhere. We can look at all of that, but this is where we want to get in here. So we've got 2 scenarios to play out here because we don't want to miss this. We've got the move that's going to go from here up straight up through here. So if that's going to be the case, then we're going to look at that set of wave counts, and we'll come up with a strategy of that tomorrow after this session. And if we're going to break lower to here, well, then we're going to be looking at buying on these lows here for this. So either way, whatever happens, we have to work it until we get in. We've got kind of a bit of time with all of this as well in a regard, because if we're still looking for the third wave here, so the third wave here is going to be longer than the first wave. We just don't know if it's going to be moving up from that low there, or this low here. So one way or another, we're going to be going long above those highs there. So we're going to catch that. We'll be on our way at that point, and then we'll need to look at this as we'll count this. If that makes a new high here, then we'll have to count 5 waves up to that point. So be up here somewhere, probably level that high there or something as wave 1 and 2 here, and then 3 and 4 and 5. So that's kind of what we're looking at that point. Otherwise, we're going to pull back here, and tomorrow we'll sort out moving into this at the right point, and we'll also manage this situation here as well. So that's what we're looking at, and just keep an eye on the Nasdaq as well, taking this top out here. That will be also a trigger and a catalyst as well. And we looked at Google before, so Google will be the one that's one of the stocks that will be taking us higher into that space. Alrighty, sorry for rabbiting on so much. It's hard to get the old brain grey cells working first up in the early hours of the morning, so I do repeat myself a little bit and do carry on, but eventually I get the message across. Okay, so thanks for that. Cheers.